Imagine this. One share, $19. A dying textile company nobody wanted. One guy bought it in 1965 and forgot about it. Today, that single share is worth $755,000. That's not a house. That's not a supercar collection. That's one piece of paper. Now worth more than most people will earn in 10 lifetimes. The man who made that decision still lives in the same modest house, still drives himself to work. And he did it without a single day trade, without crypto, without ever chasing the hot thing. His name is Warren Buffett. And what he did next, after someone tried to cheat him out of 12 cents a share, is actually insane. I'm going to show you the exact moments that turned a paperboy from Nebraska into a living legend, and the dead simple rules that made him untouchable. The last one? It's the reason 99% of millionaires never become a billionaire. Stay tuned. This journey can be your journey. This video can take your life from 0 to 100.
You are watching Olives and Finance. We are simplifying finance for you.
Warren Edward Buffett was born in 1930, during the worst economic collapse the United States had ever seen. His father, Howard Buffett, was a stockbroker, until the Great Depression crushed the market and wiped out most brokers overnight. Money was tight, hope was thin, and survival meant creativity. This scenario taught Warren early that every penny mattered. He collected discarded soda bottles from his grandfather's grocery store and resold them for 2 cents each. Once, he bought 6 packs of Coca-Cola for 25 cents and sold the bottles one by one for a profit. He was just a 6-year-old kid and already reinvesting profits. This distinguished him from others. But the real miracle wasn't his small hustles. It was the library inside his home. Where the real magic began. His father loved books, and Warren devoured every finance and business book he could find from his father's library. The perfect example of how your habits shape your children's lives. By age 11, he bought his first stock. 3 shares of Cities Service Preferred, an oil company, at $38 each. The price immediately dropped to $27. Most kids would panic and sell to prevent further loss, but Buffett waited. And his patience brings him relief. The stock rose to $40. He sold and book profit, but after a few days it shot up to $200. That was the day he learned one of the greatest lessons in investing. Patience is more profitable than excitement. A lifelong lesson that no school or textbook can teach. When World War II ended, Buffett's father was elected to the U.S. Congress. The family moved to Washington, D.C. Warren hated it at first. New school, new people, no Omaha. But then something changed. He found an opportunity. He started delivering newspapers. First, the Washington Post, then the Washington Times-Herald. He worked for both. Every morning at 6 a.m., he delivered hundreds of papers, rain or shine. He never stops. His passion for work helps him to keep going. He earned the today's equivalent of $50 to $60 a day as a teenager. That's a lot for a boy of his age. He used that money to buy his first real asset, a 40-acre Nebraska farmland, another milestone achieved which he rented out to local farmers. By high school, Buffett wasn't just earning money. He was compounding it. He understands the real game of cash at a very young age. He even bought and repaired used pinball machines, placing them inside barbershops. Within months, he owned several machines and a steady cash flow. Warren wasn't interested in being rich. He was interested in being free. That we call financial freedom. Buffett entered the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania because his father insisted. He hated it. He said the classes were filled with theory, not real-world wisdom. This gap in education and the real world annoys him. So after 2 years, he transferred to the University of Nebraska, continued working full-time, and finished his degree. But the turning point came when he discovered a book, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. He read it cover to cover, then again and again. It became the most important book of his life. This became the true example of how one book can change your entire life. Buffett decided he wanted to study under Graham personally. So he applied to Harvard Business School. They rejected him, instantly. That rejection became the greatest gift of his life. He discovered that Graham taught at Columbia Business School. He sent a heartfelt letter, and eventually, Graham invited him in. At Columbia, Buffett studied directly under Benjamin Graham and David Dodd, the fathers of value investing. That was the greatest gift of his life. Graham taught 3 ideas that Buffett carried forever. Those ideas can transform your life too. 1. Intrinsic value. Every company has a true worth. If you can calculate it better than others, you'll always make better decisions. 2. Margin of safety. Buy when a business is far cheaper than its real value. It's the financial equivalent of wearing a seatbelt. It protects you from unfortunate events. 3. Mr. Market. The market is emotional. It gets excited. It gets depressed. Your job is to stay calm while everyone else panics. Buffett graduated as Graham's best student. He offered to work for Graham for free. Graham still said no, but Buffett didn't give up. He wrote to Graham every year. Finally, Graham hired him. Warren Buffett was now working for his hero. It wasn't less than a dream come true.
They changed my life. If I hadn't read that book in late 1949, I'd have had a different future. It instantly clicked with me that what he was saying made sense. And then the chance to study under him and under Dave Dodd too. It was a different experience, but it was hugely helpful. It shaped my professional life, there's no question about it.
After Columbia, Buffett returned to Omaha. He worked briefly for his mentor, Benjamin Graham, in New York. But when Graham retired, Buffett had to decide: go work on Wall Street or create something of his own. He chose Omaha, but starting an investment fund as a 24-year-old. With no reputation, it was difficult. So he began with the people who trusted him most, his family and close acquaintances. He went door to door, explaining his strategy in the simplest terms. If I don't make you money, I don't get paid. His model was different from typical Wall Street funds. He charged no management fee. He only took a portion of the profits above 6%. This convinced people he wasn't gambling. He was aligned with them. 7 people invested. The total amount was $105,000. Buffett invested only $100 of his own money, yet he worked as if every dollar were his. He sat alone in a tiny office, no employees, reading annual reports until midnight, analyzing companies others have ignored. By 1960, his partnership had grown to 10-plus partners, and assets in the millions. Buffett wasn't rich yet, but the machine was running. Buffett always credited his friend and partner, Charlie Munger, for transforming his investment philosophy. That proves we can learn at every step of life and transform our beliefs and philosophies for good. Graham taught him to buy cheap companies. Munger taught him to buy great companies, the ones with moats. A moat is a business that competitors simply cannot destroy, like Coca-Cola's brand, Apple's ecosystem, See's Candy's loyalty. Buffett realized it's better to buy a wonderful company at a fair price than a fair company at a wonderful price. That shift turned millions into billions.
We always lived in a way where we were happy with what we were doing every day. I mean, Charlie liked learning. He liked, as I mentioned in the movie, he liked a wide variety of things. So he was much broader than I was. But I didn't have any great desire to be as broad as he was, and he didn't have any great desire to be as narrow as I.
Today, Berkshire Hathaway owns or controls GEICO, Dairy Queen, Duracell, BNSF Railway, Fruit of the Loom, 5% of Apple, billions in American Express, billions in Coca-Cola, and generates tens of billions in annual profits. Buffett still lives in the same Omaha house he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He still eats McDonald's breakfast. He still spends hours reading every day. He built wealth quietly, patiently, logically, not with secrets, but with discipline. Here's Buffett's ingredients to success. 1. Wealth belongs to the patient. 2. You don't need genius, you need consistency. 3. Never stop learning. 4. Stay rational when the world panics. 5. Invest in businesses, not stocks. 6. Your habits, not your salary, determine your future. Buffett didn't chase money. He let money chase him. Buffett once said, "The difference between successful people and really successful people is that really successful people say no to almost everything." He spent his life saying yes to learning and no to distractions. Do that long enough, and the world calls you a genius.